Hello, hello, hello. Welcome
Hello.
to Tuesday Talks with the Conways.
I'm Courtney.
And I'm Chris. And we apologize about being late. We're having some technical difficulties. Camera wasn't working, so I had to restart the computer.
Yeah, that was fun
And I had
times.
to reopen all of our windows, and still not all 100% open. But I wanted to not be any late and more late. So here we are. So we are glad that you are here, and we're glad that the camera's working, because it would be a boring podcast without
hmm
Courtney's beautiful face. um, y'all probably wouldn't miss mine, but we would definitely would have missed hers. So as I kind of get our windows back up, we'll talk about just chit chat for a few minutes while we make sure everyone joins us. But we have Joy with us and our mom and Devin on YouTube. So glad to have you all here with us, and then our many friends on Instagram. So let me just continue moving things over. But we hope that your summer is starting to kick off. Well, summer, it's still kind of technically
It's
spring,
technically not summer until the 20th.
but yeah, on the 20th. But it is getting warmer, which is delightful.
It was very hot today.
Yes, very
Very hot.
hot, very humid. But, Courtney wished for this, so it's her fault.
I did not wish for this. I wished for warmer than 20 degrees.
And she got it. But yes, so we are having some more warmer weather, which means hopefully more outside activities, lots of ways to get your movement in. So I will let Courtney kind of introduce our topic. It's really similar, a similar line, kind of continuing our or wrapping up our series.
Yes, we're talking about better together, how protein, carbs, and fats work together as a team. The past few weeks, we've talked about protein, carbs, and fats on an individual level. But now we're going to talk about how they work together as a whole because you really need all three macronutrients and not just.
Absolutely. So they all kind of work together, and they all have important roles for having optimal health. And so we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about kind of the ratios and whatnot, and how, like all things in life, it's not one size fits all. But we do have some general recommendations when it comes to kind of a balance
Mhm.
of the macros. We're going to be talking about, you know, how your plate should look for a best health, along with tracking in the Healthy app. So we'll be talking about quite a few things. Hi, Chile. Glad to have you here with us as well. So now that we got the technical issues out of the way, we will get started. So over the last, like Courtney mentioned, we talked about protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and none of them are bad, and they all really work together. So the healthiest eating pattern isn't really about eliminating a particular food or macronutrient. It's about finding a pattern that's healthy, getting a balance. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough protein, choosing quality carbohydrates, including healthy fats, and finding a balance that you can maintain for years, because that's really key. Is you want sustainability, you want a diet and a balance that you can keep going forever,
Mhm.
because this is a lifelong journey.
Yes, absolutely. And there's no like you said earlier, there's no one size fits all. But there's also no one bad food. Like just because it's higher in fats, higher in carbs, higher in protein does not mean it's good or bad. It's all about balance. So we're going to talk about that
Mhm.
as well.
Absolutely. And what are the macros actually doing? What people automatically think when they think of the macros is protein equals muscles, carbs equals energy, and fat equals weight gain. And while some of those contain some truths, it's a lot more complex, and it's
Mhm.
not just as simple as that. So you want to really kind of look into them a little bit more deeper.
Yes, while proteins do equal muscles, I guess you can say, they build and repair muscles. So you need them not just to build them, but repair them. It's especially essential after workouts. They support immune function. They create hormones and enzymes, and they increase. I can never say that word.
Satiety, whatever. It helps you
It helps
be
you
more
stay
full.
full.
And carbohydrates jobs, they're the body's preferred fuel source. We mentioned this one of the previous weeks. It's what our bodies were designed to burn, but that's not the only thing that we can burn, because we mentioned those that are on the keto plan, they're in ketosis, where their body does burn fat first. But that's not quite for everyone. But they're also, carbs help power your brain. It helps fuel your exercise,
Mhm.
and it also helps replenish your glycogen stores, which is very important.
Mhm. And then there's fats, and healthy fats support hormone production as well. They aid in vitamin absorption. If you're not getting enough fats, you're not going to be able to absorb the vitamins like you need to. They protect your organs. They support brain health. They keep you satisfied. So all of these things do essential things.
Mhm.
It's not just one or the other that we need.
Exactly. We learned the other week as we were doing the research that your brain is a pretty significant amount of fat, and so you kind of have to have that to produce that to keep things healthy.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
No.
No, I was just going to say your body is designed to use all three of the macronutrients,
Mhm.
not just one, not eliminate one. It's designed in a way where you do need all three of them, and they
Mhm.
all three work together.
Yep, they're not optional. They're essential.
Mhm.
Exactly. And trying to completely eliminate one creates problems elsewhere. And we'll talk about that a little bit too. So many diets become popular because they focus on one macronutrient. And sometimes it's easier to focus on one versus all three of them. But they can tend to cause problems like very low carb diets. Not for everyone. Some people do them and they do quite well. Ultra low fat diets or extremely high protein plans, there are some problems that come with that. Is many people they become so focused on that one macronutrient or two that they neglect the others, and it's really all about balance.
Absolutely. And then like you said, there's low carb diets, there's low fat diets. Low carb extremes can lead to lower exercise performance, fatigue, difficulty maintaining it long term. I know tons of people, and we all know keto does work. Like we
Mhm.
know it. But I know tons of, like, it doesn't work for everyone though. I know tons of people that have lost a ton of weight in a matter of 2 or 3 months, but it's not sustainable for them, so they can't keep going.
Mhm.
Um, they have difficulty maintaining that long term. And then with low fat diets, you can have increased hunger, reduced satisfaction, difficulty absorbing the vitamins like we talked about earlier.
So you might find yourself deficient in certain vitamins and minerals because your body's not able to absorb them because they're
Mhm.
fat soluble. So those are really, really important things. The low protein diets can contribute to more hunger, like a lot of these actually. A lot of these do that, and then loss of muscles.
Mhm. And I also want to point out with all of these, everybody is different. There are some people that for their certain health needs, they do need a certain kind of
Like
diet.
diabetes or
Like, yes, or if you have kidney issues, you can't have high protein. And like you need to have low carb if you have diabetes. So, so just make sure, this is why we talked last week about making sure you go get that lab work done.
Mhm.
So you know what your needs are if you do need a specific kind of diet that does focus on only one of the macronutrients.
Yes, so having a balance is kind of a general term, not for everyone, but follow your doctor's advice. And also, a lot of current health insurance plans also cover seeing a nutritionist, which
Mhm.
is also very helpful too.
Yep.
But some of the key takeaways for this is the most successful long term nutrient plans. They're not extreme. They have a balance. Even the healthiest keto plan does have balance. It does have the ability to have some carbs.
Mhm.
It really prioritizes the protein and fat. Um, and it also comes about having a balance of fiber too to help counteract some of those carbs. So your body still has some carbs, but those fibers help kind of
Mhm.
balance us out a little bit.
Yes. And then also with this, the main takeaway from this podcast, I guess, is how the macros work together. Each macro helps the others do their job.
Hmm.
The fats help the protein helps, the carbs, they help them all to do their job. So for example, if you were to have breakfast and you were to have just a bowl of sugary cereal.
And
Now,
we're not knocking sugar
we eat
cereal.
our sugary cereal all the time. Granted, we do pair it with protein milk, but um, a bowl of sugary cereal, you might be very hungry very quickly
Hmm.
because it's mostly carbohydrates with a little protein and fat. But a healthier option that will keep you full longer, give you more energy, would be to have, for instance, some oatmeal with Greek yogurt, some fruits, maybe some walnuts. Like that has carbs for your energy, protein for your fullness,
Healthy fats.
healthy fats for your satisfaction. It has all three of the things you need. And like we said, we're not knocking cereal because we eat it probably at least once a week. We love some cereal.
Mhm.
But make sure you're pairing it with some sort of fat or protein as well.
Yep. So for example, we do the high protein milk, but also have a cup of yogurt to go along with it, or some berries, or whatnot, or chop up some nuts to go in there. And a lot of cereals can have nuts in them too. So I love
Mhm.
Honey Bunches of Oats, which is going to have some of those healthier items too. So you don't have to knock out cereal. We love balances.
Yes. And also keep in mind that like we are in like right now we are in a protein society. Like it's high protein everything, high protein chips, high protein bars, everything.
Mhm.
But protein alone. So for example, if your lunch is just a chicken breast.
There's a lot of people gravitate towards that on
Yeah.
diets.
But that's not going to give you very much energy because it does not have those carbs and those fats for your energy sources. It does have lots of proteins, but not the other things you need. So pair it with a pasta and some vegetable and maybe like some olive oil for those healthy fats.
Mhm.
That's going to help you stay full longer, give you energy, all the things you need and not just one thing.
In the blood sugar conversation, when protein and fat are paired with carbohydrates, it helps you slow your digestion, and it helps you from having those blood sugar spikes. But also, those types of things, like we mentioned before, when it comes to exercise, having those slow burning carbs will help you get through the day, get through your exercise, versus having a bunch of sugary items or carbs that don't have all those other things, and your blood sugar spikes, your energy spikes, but then you crash
Hmm.
afterwards. So having all three work together helps you have a more sustainable energy to get through your day or get through your workout.
Yes, it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna keep you from having that crash, which is very, very important.
Joy gives a really, really good example. She had 3 ounces of chicken breast, sweet potato bites, cottage cheese, and applesauce. So that right there has some healthy fats, it has some healthy carbs, and it has some protein. So really good balance right there. So
Mhm.
Joy has a really good example of a meal that works really well for her, and we love that.
Mhm.
Joy mentioned she wasn't hungry after lunch. If you have a really good balanced meal, you're not going to be hungry right
Mhm.
away.
Yeah, that's how I can tell, like, my breakfast, like, we just talked about cereals. I It doesn't keep me full very long.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just want the ease of it, though. But even having, like, a protein bagel with, like, just having the things that I need, I notice, like, I'm not hungry for hours, but give me
Mhm.
that cereal and I'm probably hungry an hour and a half later.
Mhm.
So it really does improve your day as far as like how often you're hungry, the energy, all those kinds of things.
And the balanced meals will help improve your fullness, reduce cravings, which is really big because when we leave anything out of our diet, or we cut anything out completely, that's when cravings hit. And this also creates a more steady energy source, which is really, really, really
Mhm.
important because you need to have energy to get your movement. You don't have to go run a marathon, but you need energy just to have more movement throughout the day.
Yeah.
And you need to move for life. You need to move for health. Courtney's job, she works with kids, so she needs to be running around with those little crazy
All
kids.
day long.
You need energy to live.
Yep.
And Tammy mentioned she creates cereal. We love some cereal, but it's not really going to be
Mm-mm.
on the counterpoint of that. Having just a salad with some dressing is not going to be sustainable either. That's not really going to give you the protein or the fats you need. Not I could eat a big salad
I love me some salad.
and be hungry within 30 minutes.
Yep. And then this is a big question that people ask all the time. Is there a perfect macro ratio? And the short answer is no. No single ratio works for everyone. It's kind of like everybody has their own calorie count they need. Everyone is different. And it also goes off of, like we mentioned earlier, your doctor, your labs, because some people need less protein, some people need more protein, some people need less fat. You don't really know. But there is a general guideline that is given. Generally, carbohydrates is 45 to 65% of your calories. Protein is 10 to 35% of your calories, and fat is 20 to 35% of your calories.
Mhm.
It is a very wide range, because people all have different needs.
Like we mentioned before, when we talked about hydration, we had a whole episode, a podcast on hydration. Everyone's hydration needs are different depending on how tall you are, how big you are, how active you are, your climate. Same with these. So these are kind of some general guidelines. So that's the what was considered the AMDR, the acceptable macronutrient distribution ranges. So those are kind of some general expectations from nutrition experts. But those we have a good practical starting point. So for many healthy adults that are trying to lose weight, like us, we're also trying to maintain muscle and feel satisfied. These ratios are kind of what are recommended. 25 to 35% of protein, so a little higher on the protein than what was previously talked about. Carbs around 35 to 45%, and then fat 25 to 35%. And it's not a rule, though. Very, very important to know that this is not a rule. These are a reasonable starting point.
Absolutely. Like you said, it is a starting point. And then we've always talked about starting small. Like you can try, like if you want to try these numbers, you can try them out for a few weeks and see how you feel, see how your weight goes, see how your energy level is, all these things. And then you can adjust. Because there is no one size fits all.
And it might be different day to day, depending on how active we are.
Yes.
Will depend on will determine how many carbs or protein we need.
Yes, the days that we go to the gym, I've noticed I need more carbs and I need more protein, and like my body craves those things.
Especially Jinx.
That was weird.
During strength training.
It's actually where I was going with that. But during strength training, like the days that I strength train first thing in the morning, I am like a bottomless pit that day. My body's like protein, 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 protein. So it does also change day to day depending on your activity level, what exercise you've done, like so many things. That is why we keep saying it is not a one size fit all, because even for your own body, it is not the same every day.
Absolutely. And then we talked about multiple times that for those that are on GLP-1s, if your calorie intake goes down, you really need to prioritize protein, because your body could start burning your muscles instead of the fat if you're not getting enough protein or in calories in general. So that's also going to be very, very, very important. You need to have enough protein to keep from losing muscle and helping you to recover from exercise faster, and then to keep your strength from decreasing. We don't want that at all.
So, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say just an easy method, we then easier than counting macros, which we still do. We still track.
Yes, we track.
We do totally recommend tracking in the app, but
every bite, lick, and taste.
Exactly. But an easy guideline is to design your plate to look a certain way. So a plate at most meals, half of your plate should be from non-starchy vegetables. So some examples are broccoli, green beans, salad, peppers, cauliflower. And then if you want to talk about
Sorry, I was just thinking that I only eat one of those vegetables. So that's fun.
Those are not the only examples for non-starchy vegetables.
I can force down some broccoli, and I love fresh green beans. He does not.
I like the canned stuff.
The canned stuff. So we
So we can just do two dishes of green beans. I can do the canned stuff, and she can do the fresh stuff.
Yes. But anyways, a quarter of the plate is some sort of lean protein: chicken, fish, turkey, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, tofu. Because keep in mind, even if you're vegetarian, there are protein options for you out there.
And it's just as important for you to get your protein. You have to be more careful about your protein if you're vegetarian, because you need that protein. There's lots of plant-based protein options.
Yes, absolutely. And then a quarter of the plate is a quality carbohydrate. Now, keep in mind, quality.
We talked about
carbohydrate.
We talked about complex carbs are going to be your friend.
Yes.
So that's what we're looking for potatoes, rice, especially if you can do brown rice, which we don't like as much, but we can. Oats, fruits, and whole grains.
And then you can add a healthy fat, some avocados, some nuts, some seeds. Cook your chicken in some olive oil. Like you can add, I have found that healthier fats are probably the easiest thing to add in, especially if you need more calories. These are going to give you the healthy fats like the olive oil, but also give you the calories if you are struggling with getting enough calories in.
We mentioned that in previous week that if you're struggling to get calories in, Healthy nuts like almonds and walnuts
Mhm.
don't it doesn't take much
Not much at
to
all.
get some calories in there, but it has some of those omega-3s
Make sure
that
you
you
weigh
need.
them out because you can have what you feel like is a serving and it's like 4 servings.
Yep. So be careful about
Same
the
with
sodium
peanut
size.
butter.
Absolutely. So that we have some signs that your macros might be a little out of balance. So if you're getting a little bit too protein, you might be constantly hungry, always wanting to eat something. If you do work out, you it might take you longer to recover because
Mhm.
you're not getting enough protein. You could be losing strength, and that's also very important to not do that. Oh, do I mention a baked potato for supper? We love some baked
Oh, now I
potatoes.
want a baked potato. I love baked potatoes.
Those are so good. And that leads us to if your diet has too little carbs.
Yes, you may have fatigue, brain fog, lower workout performance, and cravings. I know people that are on the keto diet and they have cravings galore, and that never really goes away. And that's not to say if you go on keto, because Healthy does have a keto plan, that you will have cravings for the rest of your life. But I just know if you're not getting enough carbohydrates, you will have those cravings.
And then if you have too little fat, the meals might be unsatisfying. Your hunger returns really quickly, and then you have difficulty sticking to your plan. That's really any of these. If you go too little on any of these things, it becomes too difficult to stick to your plan.
Mhm.
When we get too restrictive, that's when we typically get in the habit of binging, going off plan. So balance is really going to be key as much as possible.
Yes, because with the balance, the goal is not perfection. It's awareness. It's to be aware of what you're putting into your body, whether it's a healthy fat, a complex carb, a protein, whatever it is, just to be aware of what's going into your body, how it's working for you, and what it's going to do for you.
hmm And then some tips for finding your balance the first tip is just build your meal around your protein. A lean chicken, we love lean pork, shrimp, fish, those types of things. What's my protein source? And then you can add to it. So add some carbs and add some fats to it, or cook your meat and some healthy fats too, so you can have those
Mhm.
complex carbs to go in there.
Yes. And then another tip is to include produce in most meals. This is actually something his family does. Mine never did. My cousin jokingly showed me a can of green beans when I was a kid and was like, "This is a vegetable." Because we just don't eat like my dad eats vegetables. My mom, the only vegetable she eats is,
French fry.
well, I guess that is a vegetable, but I was gonna say pinto beans.
Oh yeah, pinto beans, and those are a
Technically,
good
she eats more
source.
vegetables. She eats celery. But anyways, we did not grow up eating many vegetables. His family, on the other hand, every meal they have a vegetable. So that's something that especially when I'm cooking for his parents, I have to make sure to incorporate some sort of produce
hmm
in my meal and like have a healthy vegetable. And that's something, even being married to him, how long have we been married? 9 years.
hmm
I still sometimes like forget
hmm
to add the produce.
And then adding fruits too. We have lately been going and getting tons of fruits. So adding a plate of berries, strawberries, blueberries, those types of things, a peach in with your meals. Our daughter loves when we pile on the fruits along with,
Mhm.
because she doesn't really like to do a lot of veggies either, but she loves her some fruits. So we'll add a big pile of healthy fruits to go along with whatever it is too.
Mhm. And then tip number 3 is to stop fearing carbohydrates. Even on the keto diet, you need some carbs. That is not like zero carbs completely. Like you need, my mom stuck her tongue out at me. You need some sort of carbs. So you can focus on the quality, choose more fruits, potatoes, oats, rice, beans, whole grains. Choose those more natural things. If you do want to not have the carbs,
The complex carbs are going to be really
yes,
good for
yes.
you.
The carbs that you do have, make sure they are the more quality carbs.
And then limit the highly processed carbs. And then tip four is don't avoid healthy fats. So make sure you have some avocados, nuts, olive oil, some of the fattier fishes.
That's something that I do struggle with because if you look at other than the fatty fishes, I love me some fish. All the other ones I don't like.
hmm
I'm very picky, in case you haven't learned.
And that is okay.
So yes, but I get them where I can. I love me some sushi, so I will get some avocado and some fatty fish there. I will eat it fatty fish all day.
hmm
But yeah.
The best don't focus on consistency over precision. You don't have to have a perfect macro ratio. You need a pattern that you can repeat.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So we have come to the end of our main podcast topic. So next we're going to be talking about Courtney's delicious recipe that we're going to share on this next
Which
page.
I haven't made in a while and I need to make it.
Yes.
Cottage cheese queso.
Yum. Who
You know
doesn't
we
love
love our
a
cottage
good,
cheese.
and who doesn't love a good queso?
And you wouldn't even know this was made out of cottage cheese.
No, not at all. And the cottage cheese adds some protein, so a nice little balance there.
So this makes 4 servings, but you can you need a cup of cottage cheese, any kind you want. We tend to get the full fat just because we prefer the full fat. And for the cup of mild salsa or any salsa that you like, 2 teaspoons of taco seasoning and a cup of shredded whatever kind of cheese you want. Blend together the cottage cheese, taco seasoning, and salsa. Add to a microwave safe container. Add the shredded cheese and microwave it for 1 minute, but make sure you're stirring at least halfway through. Because if you're not, that cottage cheese is going to curdle. So it's very tricky recipe because if you do it too long, it's going to curdle. Not long enough, you're not going to have good melty goodness. So check it every like 15 to 30 seconds and stir it to help that cottage cheese to not curdle. But you can add this with veggies, chips. We add it to like tacos sometimes. It is so good.
Put it on top of some nachos.
Yep, it is between 2 and 3 bites, depending on your plan. 86 calories per serving, 3.9 net carbs, 8 grams of protein.
That's
For
a lot of
86
protein.
calories.
Yep.
That's high protein right there.
Yeah, but you can have all 4 servings and have a pretty substantial amount of protein.
That is true.
I don't know if I would want a whole like cup and a half, 2 cups of nacho cheese, but who knows? That might be your jam.
I wouldn't mind it.
Well, we thank you so much for joining us this week, and again, sorry about the technical glitches. We hopefully will not have those next week. But drop us a comment if you have any questions or concerns, or have any topics you'd like to talk about, or you have a dish that that you would like Courtney to try her hand at making healthier. But we thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.